Thanks, Olla. That was great. I mean, really, I didn't count down how many different pieces of work were shown during the year. That'd be really interesting. I should go through them and just count down. Well, we can kind of guess because there were 18 usually.
Yeah.
Each time. So 180 plus another 36. So over 200. Over 200 different pieces of art shown. So that is great. Now, I did invite our Ward 1 Councillor, Stephen Dasco. He's a really strong supporter of everything we do. But of course, this is crazy time and he's busy and had to be somewhere else. But he sent this message. He said, please extend best wishes to everyone, congratulating them on their exhibits and first anniversary. So this December, this current exhibit that's hanging in the gallery, this is a theme around winter and holidays and family. So let's take a look. Now, some of the artists are here, so they might be able to give us some background on their work, on their painting. And if I don't know that I have the background, but I can tell you possibly who all the artists are. So if we just close off our, shut down our videos again while we go through it, just helps it be nice and clear.
Can everyone see?
Yep. I can, anyway. Can you make it full screen or not, Sophia? Yeah. Well, that's not bad.
Pretty big.
Yeah, it's full screen for me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this is called Burning Iceberg, which is quite appropriate for what's happening in the north, in the far north. And it's by Sue Archibald, who's participated in our fine art show many times and also in our arts drive. She's a Port Credit artist. And this one is not so much, but a lot of her paintings have a whimsical touch to them. But she has a series she did related to COVID also that were painted in a whimsical way. However, the subject matter was not whimsical. So she can do either. Next one. Oh, this is lovely. This is Laura's, and Laura's here. So maybe, Laura, you'd like to speak to it a bit?
Although this is a small painting, it took me about a year, believe it or not, because this was a complete experiment. I did it on rice paper. The polar bear is on rice paper, white rice paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then I experimented with mounting it onto canvas with a blue base, and then getting all of that smoothed out, and then figuring out, okay, how on earth am I going to finish those edges? And I had no idea at the time. So it took some thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just put a finish on it, around it. And there's my polar bear on a glacier, the mini.
Yeah. No, it's lovely. Very thought-provoking. Poor little bear out there.
All alone in the vastness.
Yes, yeah. Would you do that method again, that process?
I have been doing it. And I have been getting my rice papers mounted onto canvas. There are some definite technical issues and size issues. There's a definite limitation there, but it has worked out really well, and I am selling them quite well. And people that want this art form, but they don't want art that's under glass. So this is a really good compromise, and it's a different way of dealing with this art form.
Right.
So it's worked out well.
Right. Yeah, I understand the glass. I mean, that's part of your shipping work anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Next one, Sophia. Oh, this is Sandra Robson's painting. Yeah, she's a tree person for sure. And she's the one that called me or sent me an email earlier saying she was still at work tonight. So apologize for not being here. But I love her work. It's usually very thoughtful and restful, you know. In many cases, this one I find is too. Oh, there's some type there. An intimate conversation with my inner voice. Each brushstroke is celebrated in expressive movement. Can you move that down a little more, Sophia? Through my eyes, I bring a touch of nature indoors. Ah, true enough. True enough. And of course, I just want to add that everything you see in the gallery is for sale. They always are. And there's a direct link to every artist. So you can always contact the artist directly if there's something you're interested in, or you can always contact us too. So 12 by 24, so 1 foot by 2 feet. Yeah. Okay, next one. Ah, this is Gabby's painting. Yeah, and she's not here tonight, but she hasn't done a whole lot. This is a little unusual for her on the barn board, but this particular painting, I think, works really well on the wood. Looks good, that you can just see a wee bit of it poking along the edges, poking out. Yeah. That looks cold. When I look at that, I feel cold. You know, I really hate winter, but I usually like winter paintings for some reason. Because, I mean, it is a beautiful season in a way. It's just that it's so darn cold. Okay, next one. Okay, this is Lillian's, and Lillian is here. So believe it or not, this is all embroidery.
Oh.
Can you get any closer, Sophia?
I can try.
Well, it's, yeah, I forget what.
Oh,
There
too
you go.
close.
Yeah. No, I just wondered, yeah, so we can see that it actually is all stitched. Did you want to say anything about that, Lillian?
Yes, it's a scene in Tecumseh Park, which is close to where I live. I had done it in oil originally, and then noticed that it was needle friendly. So I gave it a try and it did work out. So, and you can tell right from here, you can tell they are stitches. A lot of
Yes.
people can't, even when they look closely in real life. I noticed at the art show, I had to explain to everybody that those were not oil paintings, but it's 16 by 20. And I did this a couple of years ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, it's perfect for this exhibit. Yes, I know your work is so light, it's so painterly that your first thought when you see it is not embroidery. It's not stitchery. Your first thought is painting until you get closer to it. And then it's quite amazing.
You don't expect it to be stitches. It's
No.
I don't know too many people that do hand stitching.
Well, I mean, you just do it so naturally because we've talked about it, but to me, that would take me a lifetime because I would lose interest before. I've never finished a stitched piece, an embroidered piece.
It's very relaxing. It's like knitting.
Yes.
You watch television or?
Well, I don't finish knitting either, Lillian.
Okay.
I used to finish weaving because you had to get onto something else. You had to finish it to get it off the loom, but yes, I also have a lot of unfinished knitting projects. I have finished a couple, but for the most part, I lose interest before it's done. But yeah, so, and you've done some much larger than this as well, have you not?
Oh, yes, indeed. My largest, I think, is 28 by 40.
Wow, wow. And how long have you been doing this?
About 20 years.
Yeah, I thought it was a while. You must have quite a collection of yarn.
I use sewing thread.
Oh, that's right, you told
I
me.
use sewing thread and I buy it on cones. And I've got my inventory here. I keep them in buckets and I have every color you can imagine. So that when I want to do something new, I don't have to go out and buy thread.
Right.
Got it. And people ask me how many colors have you used? I can't answer that because it's there, and I blend to get certain shades. I do blend threads. I use different colors on the same needle.
Sure.
And so I can't really explain to somebody, I use so many colors. That one doesn't have very many, but I have used I've got some very colorful ones.
Oh yeah, most of them are. So how many threads do you use at one time?
8 strands.
8, okay. Yeah, so that's really interesting because you could blend 8 different colors or 8 different shades of one color.
I wouldn't go with that. For the most I've done is 4 different shades on the same needle. I would get confused.
Yeah. I guess that makes it why it is so painterly. They're all very painterly looking.
That's
Anything
right.
I've seen. Yeah. But you also paint.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
That's why I started with the thread. I was not happy with my brushstroke, and I tried different things. I tried the palette knife, and finally I decided, why not try thread? And that's why.
So what do you stitch onto?
It's lining material. It's usually, it's always polyester. It's very thin, very strong, and very easy to draw, and it lets the needle slide. I don't wear thimbles anymore.
Right. So do you use one of those hoops, embroidery hoops?
Small hoops, yeah. So my work is no big hoop. I can travel with it. It doesn't matter how large the work is. It's very convenient.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you were here to explain all that because I think it's just phenomenal. And I don't know anyone else who does work like this.
I follow a few of them on Instagram. They're amazing. Some of them, actually. Some of them do portraits.
Are they in Canada?
Nope.
Yeah.
The ones that I happen to follow are in the States.
Yeah. So, yeah, I know this is why I do follow outside of the country some artists and in Europe and in Britain, because it's very different. It seems, well, in the first place, it's more respected as art. So I guess that leads the artist to be more experimental, and you see work that you don't normally see. I came across a magazine that maybe some of you know. I just kind of woke up to it, and I found it at Shoppers because that's about as far as I travel. And it's called, there's 2 sister magazines. One's called Where Women Work, and the other one is called What Women Work. And they're produced in the States, and they do have a website that just says, it's just called womencreate.com. And they're more than a magazine, they're more like a book, more like a soft cover. I just read it from cover to cover. So you'd probably enjoy it, Lillian, if you don't know.
We'll look that up.
Yeah, because there's a lot of quilters and painters and just very different artwork. It's centered around women working. It's just a beautiful magazine. Anyway, on to the next one. Kind of wandered off there.
Getting stuck sometimes, but here we
I
go.
know, I had a run through today and it did that. It was very strange the way it was acting. And this is Shawn's. I don't see Shawn here, so I'm not sure exactly. It's just called Northern Suburb. So it's not our northern suburb because it's a covered bridge by the looks of it. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, I don't know when he did this. Oh, got a date on there. 20, looks like he did it. Yeah, Shawn paints anything and everything pretty much, and does use oils. So, yeah. Nice rural painting, nice rural setting. Again, calm, nice and calm and quiet. That's one thing about snow, you know, it just adds a layer of quietness to the area. Okay, next one. Oh, this is Nada's Winter Stroll. It's very soft looking snow for sure. And a much more still day than we had today. It was pretty wild out there this afternoon. Yeah, okay, next one. Oh, this is Juan Chen's coming up. It's well, not exactly abstract, but more often than not, she usually has children in her paintings, and that's what I always look for in her paintings. But this is more abstract-ish. What'd she say? I went for a walk in the bright morning after the snow and felt the warmth on my shoulder. 15 by 30. Okay. It's a good size, actually. Yeah, I can see the warmth in the snow in the water. It's very three-dimensional. It's really got that going there. Okay, next one. This is Amanda's. Another walk in the snow. But this time, more or less children, I think, but not necessarily at all. With their red winter gear on. I don't know where this could be anywhere. I know that Amanda runs and she takes long runs, like 5, 10 more kilometers. Maybe not in this weather, but normally in decent weather she does. Fresh snow, going for walks, enjoying the company of a good friend. Yeah. That's true. What size is that, Sophia? If you just
Pardon?
look, what size is
size?
that?
8 by 10.
Oh, 8 by 10. Okay, so that's a small one. Okay, next one.
They keep sticking. Here we go.
I don't know what that. I never had that before. You know, I love electronics. Yeah. So this is Sherry. Sherry's a photographer. This is beautiful. Just beautiful. I don't think Sherry's here with us tonight.
I am here, Marie.
Oh, there she is. Excellent. Can you talk to us about your process for this? That would be interesting.
Certainly, thank you. This was the result of a late afternoon of rain and then a flash freeze overnight. And upon waking up in the morning, there was just this incredible visual outside of everything that had been touched by the rain and the ice. And so I got in the car and I decided to go down some back roads and look for some opportunities to shoot. And I came across this field where the berries were still on a number of the trees.
Mm,
So I walked around for about half an hour trying to find the right balance and background and tried to create a high contrast image. And this
Right.
is the result of that.
yes, gorgeous.
Thank you.
Is that the subject matter you photograph a lot, Sherry?
I do two different things, Marie. I'm really attracted to nature. I'm inspired. It's a place I go to rejuvenate or find peace, inspiration. And the other work that I do is social documentary photography. So fine art and social documentary. They're two completely different types of photography. One is the fine art is you use the camera is a tool through which I hope that it can help me capture the artist's vision. Whereas social documentary photography, I'm working with humanity, sometimes nature, environment, and it is more of a artistic documentation as opposed to just art on its own.
Right, right. Where's your website? Can you tell everyone?
Certainly, thank you, Marie. It's sherryprenovophotography.com.
Okay, Sherry Preveno at, or Sherry Preveno Photography.
Yes,
Okay,
I can put it in the chat if you would like.
sure, do that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sherry. Next one. Now this is Connie. Connie unfortunately had a fall, so I'm not, she's recovering at the moment. She was hospitalized and I haven't spoken to her in the last week or so, but she is recovering and she's still working away, but she's also a photographer. And this is one of her photos. Abandoned old order Mennonite farm northwest of Waterloo in late February. It had started to warm with lots of moisture in the air. So there was a particularly hazy and dreamy look. Right. Yeah. Lovely. Next one. Ah, this is Thanius.
There we go.
Here we go. I'm not sure if Thanius is still here. She was planning a trip to visit with her sister in Dubai because her sister is going to have surgery, I believe, and she wanted to be there. So I'm not sure if she got out of the country or if her plans changed, but she's not here tonight. Anyway, Tanya does abstracts for the most part, as far as I know. That's what I'm familiar with seeing for her. So yeah, this is 9 by 8. So it's a small little thoughtful painting. Sure. Yeah. Most of hers are very peaceful and calming, and you just reflect on them. Lovely. Next one.
Oh my goodness.
It's just
Third
after
time's the
nothing.
charm.
We'll get there. And this is Brenda's, and Brenda is here. Brenda, do you want to tell us about your painting? I love this one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's been some amazing skies all through COVID. I don't know if I haven't noticed them before, but there's been like amazing skies, and I love being in the country. My parents had land in the country, and this is just a spot that I would just love to be walking in and sit and gather my thoughts. I love the birds. They're my favorite trees. So I thought, well, I'm going to add some birches and get some of the reflection from the sky and the water. And
Right.
they said I'd like.
So is it like an imaginary spot, or is it an actual spot that you recall from somewhere?
Mary.
Uh-huh.
I had a picture that I took of the skies around here, and I kind of incorporated both. I thought, I'll put a birch here. I'm kind of like, every once in a while I get to be like Bob Ross. Oh, the happy little tree over here. We'll put some water over here.
Well, they're kind of wintry with the white,
Yeah.
white bark. Yeah, I know people have been posting pictures of incredible sunsets and sunrises, like in Port Credit, because there are a few people I know that live in an apartment building that's right by the lake, like one of the oldest buildings in Port Credit, but it's right by the lake, and they see some amazing skies.
Yes,
for sure.
The sky, when it reflects in the water, it's just like earth and water and trees, all wood, all the elements coming together.
True enough. Yeah, that could be anywhere that's seen. Well, anywhere out of the city. Okay, and the next one. This is a lovely way to spend an evening, actually. Oh, this is Carol Ann's. I thought she might get here because Carol Ann's amazing. I first knew her as a potter. Then she decided that was too hard and it was getting to her wrist. So then she started making jewelry. And it's the jewelry that she has shown at Arts in the Credit. And now I think she's still doing some jewelry, but now she's into painting. And usually abstract. So she said this is based on a walk with their dog, because I guess for a couple of years now they've had a dog. And she has a studio at Williams Mill in Glen Williams. And if you haven't been there, it's a lovely place to visit. I had a studio there for a while. And it's just north of Georgetown, actually. And there's three different buildings at the mill. One is full of studios. Two, I guess, are full of studios. And then one is a hot glass studio that runs 24 hours a day. And it's quite a place to visit on, especially on weekends. That's when you're going to catch most of the artists there. And Carol Ann is in the very first building you come to. And she's reduced her studio space considerably because of all this crazy stuff. And, the studio, this is some of the expenses that some artists do. I mean, if you have a studio at home, you're lucky, but if you have to rent space, the rent doesn't go down. Even if you're not able to sell your work and no one's coming, you're still paying rent to maintain a studio space. So she has reduced her space a bit, but gives her room to do what she has to do. I think she would have lots of room there to work on jewelry and maybe do her painting at home because she lives in the same town. As far as I know, she still lives there. And there's a lovely restaurant next door to the mill. And
For the
yeah.
copper kettle.
Yeah, it's all been renovated in the last year or so, maybe 2 years. So usually we go up, Dawn and I go up there for a visit. We include a meal there. So that's always, they actually have a dining area at the mill, but I've never been in it. It's not open all the time. So you'd have to double check what the hours are there. I'm not sure if you wanted to try it out, but I know they were really excited to incorporate that into the mill building. And it's been going for quite some time. The owners are lovely. It's privately run. They're as fair as they can be, but you know, they have their expenses to cover too. So, yeah. Okay, next one. I have to get Carol Ann out whenever we can do another show with her paintings. This is Karen. Karen's fairly new to Arts in the Credit, but she is a Port Credit person. And this was what she sent us. Lovely. I mean, really, it's amazing to me that you can paint something that looks so real. Glass is just, I don't know. When you examine it, it loses its magic. But, you know, just to look at that, the one that's clear and how, yeah, and the teapot. Yeah. So Karen hasn't been at any of our shows yet. She did participate in the September Arts Drive because she's in the area, but not at the hotels yet. But I'm, you know, thank her for sending in something for this exhibit. Next one. Oh, and I believe it might be the last one. And this is Paula's. Paula does everything. She paints, she does murals, she does windows, paints on windows, and, you know, does all our work with our videos in our gallery and our social media also. That's what she does. So tell us about your painting here, Paula.
So I actually started this one back last year when I signed up to be in your April show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I'll put it in the September one. And then here it is now. I haven't, I don't think I put it up anywhere, yeah. So I had fun with it. I like using resin. It's a bit of a mess, but the results are really nice. And I was just experimenting with this one. I used some magnetic pigment, and I used a magnet to get that weird looking sun in the top. It doesn't photograph well, but when you see, yeah, that part, when you look at it in real, it's nice because it's got those holographic effects.
Okay.
So that was fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, and the rest is just like the polar bear's gold leaf. The background is an acrylic pour, and then I just coated the whole thing with resin and added the pigment and stuck a magnet at the back of it to get that effect.
What's your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I just like doing so much that I don't think I have a favorite. I have fun, like just kind of meddling in everything. I think I watched too much Scooby-Doo when I was a kid.
Wow, I know, it's pretty amazing.
Kids.
You have a website?
Yeah, I can put my website in the chat box.
Yeah, do that. And at this point, I just really want to wish everyone a wonderful Christmas.